Welcome into the Legislative Lounge. I am your host, Natebige, along with my co-host, Professor Mike, who is having some technical difficulties, but well, we couldn't have a podcast on the Legislative Lounge without Mike, internet being crappy. Even on Saturdays of the radio show, we always have issues too, but that's kind of going both ways. But anyway,
That wasn't my fault. That wasn't my fault.
Yeah, okay, this time it wasn't. But we want to, for all those that are in here, welcome in, welcome in. It is a, a good sunny day in Texas. How's it over there, Mike?
It's hot.
You were here smoking. Man, you gonna get us demonetized, dogs. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I mean,
It's hot. It's hot here. Don't,
man, your internet's still doing it, bro. You are delayed as hell right now. Try to say something. I think you're good now.
I can tell.
Okay, there we go. Now we're good.
I can tell.
Oh man,
like I said, the heat is messing with my internet. Don't yell at me.
It must be, man, because it's pretty bad today. But anyways, well, our main topic tonight is, America's favorite AG, right? Attorney General of New York, Leticia James, man. Now, I called this out a few weeks ago. Everybody said I was lying. I was doing this and that. I was making shit up. And I even had people to this day saying the documents I'm showing are fake, even though I provide them the actual link to, the New York Finance Agency. And it's wild to see how to what lengths and extent that these people will go to try and defend somebody just because they have a specific letter next to their name. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and you called this, I think it's over a month ago now.
Almost.
Yeah. But, I saw your video today, and I am actually surprised you didn't catch the insurance fraud given
I
your
know, right?
profession.
I was like, when I was reading something and somebody and I was actually every once in a while I pop onto the Gateway Pundit just because I'm not a frequent flyer there, but every once in a while I kind of see what they're doing. So I know Victor's over there, and I kind of like Victor, but they had mentioned something in an article about insurance, and I was like, oh, it was like a light bulb. I was like, no way. Like, how did I not catch this? This is what I fucking do.
But it's very interesting, and I know you've said it in a few videos that the Democrats are always accusing those of doing the things that they're already doing.
Right? Yeah. The left never accuses the right of something they're not already doing.
And
And that couldn't be truer this time around.
so what's that whole Leticia James thing, the what is it called? The husband dad. That's wild.
So for anybody that doesn't know or is just tuning in and you don't know what we're talking about Leticia James, who is the Attorney General of New York that's infamous for, going after Donald Trump in regards to the fraud and, the campaign fraud, the 34 charges essentially, right? And, when it comes to the bank evaluations, even though the bank reviewed them and agreed to them, but whatever. She's the one that went after Donald Trump, made him a convicted felon. And through that, we all knew that because of my saying, and the saying I like to say is that, the left never accuses the right of something the left isn't already doing. And in that, what we're talking about is a few weeks ago, I had been reading on some stuff, found some pretty interesting pieces of information about Leticia James stemming all the way back into the 80s in regards to some mortgage fraud situations. And it was actually deeper than even I thought initially, because initially I was just under the assumption that back in the 80s she had some kind of mortgages that were put in with her father. And what was weird about it is that on the forms themselves, it quite literally listed her as his wife. And here's
Yeah.
the actual document. to get
Yeah.
on the second page of this, it gets a little bit closer. He say Robert James and Leticia James, his wife, and there's their
Well,
pictures.
you know, I thought that husband dad stuff was like for the South, not for where's she? New York?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, this is New York back in 1983. You can see up here at the top right-hand corner of this sheet, and it is their mortgage, right? And this is the second page, and that's her signature. That's his signature verifying the information, right? They're supposed to verify that information, and this isn't. You can't confuse this with her mother. Like a lot of people are like, well, what's her mom's name? You know, it might be her mom. No, her mom's name is Neely. Letitia. Yeah,
More, more
I could
like
see how
more,
they
more
go
like
together, right?
nah, more like kneeling for the new relationship.
But I mean, we're looking right at it here, and it quite literally says Robert James, which is her father, Leticia James, his wife. So it's like, do we have some kind of backwoods, Alabama, West Virginia, hilltop stuff going on here, or are they just outright committing fraud on paperwork to get more favorable rates? I
It's
absolutely
both.
believe it's
I
the
like the
latter.
husband dad.
I mean, I
I
ain't
think
gonna
it's
put it
both.
past it. This
Uh,
is America. It has happened before. But it was just
uh,
announced last Wednesday that
yeah,
the
but
federal housing. Okay,
yeah. Nobody's still nobody. The news is not talking about the husband dad. They're talking about the fraud. They're talking about the insurance, but they're not talking about the husband dad.
there was one person that finally said something about that when after all the other fraud come out and that we're about to get into was Jim Jordan out of Ohio, representative of the House of Representatives. He's the only one. So I was like, I haven't seen anybody, me personally, and I'm not like I say, I'm not bragging or boasting or nothing like that, but I haven't seen anybody make a video on any platform showing the documents that I had in regards to the husband ad situation. So my question is, did Jim Jordan just see my video? I don't know. That'd be kind of cool, right? But
Yeah.
it was like last week on Wednesday, I believe, or something like that, whatever. That the what's it called? The Federal Housing Finance Agency officially or formally referred criminal investigations over to the DOJ for Leticia James, which also included additional information in regards to two different properties, one in Virginia and one in Brooklyn, New York, where she is, right? The one in Virginia is an interesting one because that in itself is a four family duplex from what I've read online, and it's listing her as as her primary residence. Now the issue with that would be is the fact that she lived in New York and was in office at that time that mortgage loan was taken out. So she literally couldn't
What kind
have
of
had
loan
that
was
as her
it?
primary address, or else she wouldn't have been able to run for office. And
I wonder what kind of loan it was.
it was just a normal loan. There wasn't anything special to this one outside of just getting a
Okay.
mortgage loan
Okay.
because that's what she does is make properties. But what it allowed for her to do is to get a lower interest rate because favorable loans, when it's your primary domicile or whatever you want to call it, you get better rates because you're actually living there and you own it rather than just having a bunch of tenants in a house that you're only at maybe occasionally. They see it as a higher risk type of situation if you're not there. Same thing to insurance, which we'll get to in a minute. And now, in regards to the specifics of her second location, well, let me put this up here. This is our second location, which is in Brooklyn, New York. And this is directly from the finance committee and everything that was issued out in the state of New York. Right? You can go online and find this information. It quite literally says right there on that documentation for the mortgage, 4 families, right? So that means that's 4 units. Now, even in not only in the insurance world, but also in the mortgage information as well, if something is less than 4 units, you can apply for special loans and get better interest rates. In this particular case, she was going for a HAP or an HAMP, or in other words, it would be a conforming loan, which allows for her to get special rates in regards to interests, which allowed her. Now, this is back in 2011. So, since 2011, with that annual interest rate, she's been able to save roughly around $44,000 a year since then. You can simply do the math on what that difference in loan would do, because God, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars of fraud right there. That's part of the problem. But
Yeah.
the issue is that when you take a look at the official document from the state of New York for the certificate of occupancy, it says it's 5 units, which puts her above the threshold for that specific loan, which gave her those special interest rates. It's like, so you lied on official documentation to get more favorable loans. What does that sound like? Kind of
Man.
like what you claim Donald Trump was doing with his evaluations of his buildings, right?
Yeah. The problem is that Donald Trump paid in full, and he paid more than what he was supposed to.
Right. And, he paid it all back, more interest. But the thing about it is, like, Donald Trump had the evaluations done, right? They gave them to the bank underwriters that were doing the mortgages and the loans or whatever. They reviewed it and approved it, and then provided the information for the interest rates and all the, and they went through the jazz. So, like, you can't really compute. Like, the banks okayed it, regardless of what anybody else said. They're the ones providing the information, because the claim is that they defrauded the banks. The
Yeah.
banks were like, nah, man, we got our money. We're good. We're kosher. But yet they still proceeded with it. Makes no sense. But the
Yeah.
funny
I
thing though, Mike, is that she actually went on the news when all of this came out, and she was questioned about it. Let's take a listen to her response real quick.
Some of what's in this this letter. It says according to media reports, which for us in the media is kind of a red flag, meaning that it seems to be based on some social media posts that I know were made by partisan political actors. But this.
Wait, me? I don't know.
wait. Pause real quick. According to media reports, for us in the media, that's a red flag.
Hey,
Okay.
man, I'm just reporting on it. These people say what the most outrageous things all the time. Like, we're not oblivious to the fact that they're like, hey, we are the media. But anyways,
Are they the
let me
red
ask you
flag?
about some of the specifics in the letter. They're saying that your house in Brooklyn is a legal 5-family, and the mortgage on it is for a 4-family house. Is that true?
So let me just say that, Errol, as any good attorney, I will not litigate this case in a camera.
Follow up.
I mean, let's stop right there for a second. I mean, why not? Because we got the documentation? Because you were fooled? Because it's
that
all
heartbeat's like,
documented officially?
that heartbeat's just a beating.
She just goes on and on. This is like a 7-minute interview, but I just clipped the good parts about it. Y'all can go watch it on Spectrum News or whatever. But there's this also.
To all New Yorkers and to all Americans, the allegations are baseless. The allegations.
How? How is it baseless, Mike, when we literally have the documentation? I mean, do I need to put it up again for everybody to see and clip?
I mean, Democrats don't live in reality. We already know that.
But listen to her excuse here. Watch this.
Are nothing more than a revenge tour. And as you mentioned, my office was successful in securing a $454 million judgment against Donald Trump and others for exaggerating the value of his assets. He engaged in a pattern and practice of fraud. And the interest is accruing each and every day while the case is on appeal in the first department.
I mean, hey guys, I committed fraud, but don't look at that. Look at what's happening over here because look, I got this against Donald Trump, even though the bank said, is all kosher over here.
Pay
But
attention. Do not pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
like what? I mean, she just continues on and on about just blaming Donald Trump, trying to move it away from her. It's just like, wow, are you in politics? Because that's exactly what a politician does. It's like, hey, I committed a felony, but don't look at me. Look at what I did over here. Yay, me. Like, what?
Donald Trump committed 33 more than I did.
And then
It
this.
is nothing more than a headline, nothing more than, again, retaliation against all of the actions that I have taken successfully against Donald Trump.
I mean, I can't count how many times she mentioned his name in this interview, which had nothing to do with Donald Trump at all. Like it's not even the president going after her or the DOJ. It was the Finance Housing Committee or the Federal Finance Housing Agency, because it's all, I mean, like this all started because of information coming out online. This had nothing to do with like an actual official investigation. Like people started looking into her after everything and started finding this. It started through social media.
I wonder, since the Federal Finance Housing Agency handles money, I wonder what branch of the government that falls under.
That would yeah. I mean, but I mean, there are some agencies like that that
That I mean, even if they are Article 2, Article
I have
1,
to look that up.
you have a an agency that is just checking things and it's finding irregularities in paperwork. Um, but this is a common tactic. You and I see it all the time on TikTok. When these people debate, you and I will attack a question head on, but the opposing party will deviate, gaslight, and pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw it here.
Yeah,
Clear as day.
and I can see why now. The Federal Housing Finance Agency is a part of the executive branch. It's an independent agency that the merger of the the Federal Housing Finance Board and the Office of Federal Housing Enterprise Oversight combined with transfer of Department of Housing and Urban Development. So it's part of it, and that's probably why she's trying to say, "Oh, look, Donald Trump, Donald Trump." But I mean, it's the part that is the hypocrisy on her end when she ended all of that nonsense with and completely skipped out over this part right in the middle of her speech.
Above the law. No one is above the law.
You want to play that one more time?
No one is above the law.
You are damn right, Leticia James, and that's why you are getting roasted right now all over social media, and that's why people are coming after you, because you are not above the law. You're actually an attorney general supposed to be enforcing the law while committing fraud.
Also, I'm gonna have to look it up, but a judgment on appeal does not accrue interest.
No. I know that she
So,
claimed that is very true. I didn't even think of that myself.
so as somebody currently studying law, I am not a lawyer. I am no type of legal representation. My opinions are my own, though I do a lot of reading. A judgment and appeal, and an appeal pauses a judgment. It takes it to the next level of court. It pauses that judgment for
Mhm.
further review, which then basically combats the claim that she made of it accruing any type of interest.
Right? And then was it here? Hang on 1 second. The whole situation with this is, yeah, I mean, it's going to be an ongoing situation, obviously, and it's going to go to court. It's going to be all of that. And we're definitely going to keep you guys up to date on it for sure. And but really, just sitting here watching the like we call it out every week, the hypocrisy of the left just continuously doing things to the point of why there are such a mass move away from them. I
There's
mean, this is why I'll never vote for leftist. Like, I'm not an individual that just goes out and be like, "Hey, do they have an R next to their name?" No, because I will leave it. I will leave it blank if I don't like the person. Right? I won't do it. But I will never vote for a Democrat that continuously does stuff like this. Their entire side does this.
well,
It's
you know, it's a common tactic, and this is why the Democrats are losing because they're not actually addressing the problems. They're deviating from the topic. They're not giving answers. All
Mhm.
they do is TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, Musk derangement syndrome, MAGA
Mhm.
derangement syndrome, and you actually start to see the Democrat Party starting to isolate and basically take an offensive maneuver towards any type of unity with America. It's total opposition against anyone who voted for Donald Trump. But something else came up. You know that gentleman that visited El Salvador?
I was just about to get all this. Go ahead.
How many of you out there know what the Logan Act is?
I mean, if an individual now I know it has to do with private citizens and whatnot acting on behalf of, but
and
at the same time, if
and
you're
and because the senators and representatives are a voice of the citizens. That's why they're roped into that.
right, but at the same, like you can be a voice for the citizens, but he's not a citizen. He never was. He never even applied for citizenship. He got a temporary work visa, which was removed from him eventually. Which we're about to dive into this whole Albrega, Garcia, Gonzalez, Santana, Sanchez, whatever his name is.
Not
God, like I'm so sick of hearing this situation. Now you have not only one individual senator, there are multiple House of Representatives that are down there in El Salvador now. And it's like I wish that they would fight for American citizens this hard. I mean, why aren't they going over to freaking Palestine asking for all the American hostages to be released?
because they don't care about American hostages. But what the hell is that guy's name? Van Holler, Mr. Van Holler.
Holland.
Yeah, Mr. Van Hollen, that one. He's in trouble.
It could be, but I mean, with them people, they ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Well, there's also a group of senators on the Democrat Party that tried to file an official um, request to go over to El Salvador and request Mr. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia's release. Now, that that hello, hi Megan, that's my beautiful wife. Um, so that violates the Logan Act because you are delving outside of your constitutional authority and responsibilities and duties. You're stepping into the executive branch. You're not supposed to do that. So the Logan Act details that very specifically, and these people could be held on violations of office, could be impeached
Could
if
be,
Congress would do their job.
right? And I mean, there's a whole laundry list of information on this. And this is what I don't get about it is like we've already deemed this individual a known member of MS-13, right? Like you can't combat that at this point. It's in immigration court records. It's even now in the Supreme Court record. And people will sit there until they're blue in the face and say, "No, no, there's no proof. There's no proof of this." No, really, you think so? Okay. Well, I've got it. Here's your immigration court case from 2019. But what's funny about this document in particular, Mike, is that for a while, people were just taking this top portion right here, right before it says criminal applications. They were cutting that off. You know why? Because this is what it says. They were
Imagine
just
that.
using this top portion of previous criminal history. And they're like, see, he's not a criminal. He's got no criminal history.
It seems to be a growing trend of the Democrat Party and those that support him just to use the top portion or the top sentence of a piece of legislation or a piece of a court case.
I mean, this is from 2019. There's no due process for him, even though he's been in front of two, not one, two immigration
Yeah.
courts.
Yep.
So the due process was already there. But he was given a withholding. Oh, in 2019? Sure. But you know what happens when you get arrested? Oh, well, he wasn't charged. Doesn't matter. Here in the United States, you can Google this. Y'all know me. I hate saying Google it. But this, you can literally Google and it'll come up. You can't even be arrested. And what happened in 2021, Mike?
Got arrested.
Uh-oh.
Or what was it? What was it? He was arrested for trafficking, I believe.
Oh, domestic abuse.
Oh, not just that one. He was also arrested for trafficking.
Oh, that is right. There were some connections, but I don't think that ever actually went anywhere, though. That's the reason why I don't bring it up. But in this particular case, we know he's a woman beater.
He definitely is that.
Just so y'all know, this aligns with somebody that might be gang affiliated. I'm just saying.
Well, not
Just saying.
so. Not just that. He came here illegally in 2011. Automatically violated 8 U.S. Code 1325. Did nothing to get his green card or visa. Right. 2019 comes around. He's picked up, put in front of an immigration judge, deemed deportable. Right. And then I believe it was a second case where they gave him a withholding order. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was deemed deportable. The second case, they deemed him still deportable, just not to El Salvador.
Right.
However, if your affiliation is deemed to be aligned with a terrorist organization, the United States owes no obligation to you.
But before we get into that, I want to talk about this for a second because people are saying he has no criminal history, right? But the problem is, here's the case from Maryland. Like, we already know this man is an abusive individual. He's violent, which aligns with somebody that might be a part of MS-13. Now, here in the, like I say, here in the United States, they don't even have to be convicted of anything. But what's even funnier is this particular case, the Miss Vasquez, his wife, supposed wife, is out here crying on national news, saying, "Oh," and first of all, she's changing her story left and right. Let's not forget that. But he's a family man. First of all, those kids aren't even his. Like, just so y'all know, those aren't his babies.
Nope.
But he's a great father, right? He's such a family man. Oh yeah, that's why he beat the hell out of you.
I don't know. It's it's interesting. In the realm of domestic abuse, most victims of domestic abuse will stay in those relationships out of fear.
Right.
So
Oh, I know of one right now that I'm dealing with in a personal situation. But like it's just fathoms. It blows my mind. Like, why would you want to stay with somebody like that? Like, what's wrong with you?
there's no rationale. So they have to find their way out, right?
Hmm.
But this person, he's gang affiliated. He's not a U.S. citizen. He's been here for 14 years. Has done nothing to facilitate his legal status. Deport him. There's an alleged arrest record regarding trafficking, where he was found to have trafficked several females. And what was interesting about that alleged case was all those females that were with him,
Hmm.
their addresses were his. So you have a person that is not trustworthy, is gang affiliated, beats women, frightens children. He deserves to be in that El Salvadorian prison.
Right. Absolutely. And when you take a look into this, the situation with the Supreme Court, like they're I don't know what the heck they're doing, honestly, because they've
Yeah,
already everybody knows they ruled in favor 5-4 in Donald Trump's favor about 2 weeks ago in regards to the whole foreign enemies alien enemies act.
Mhm.
And because and through that they didn't, you know, there's no if, ands, or buts about it. He's allowed to use it. He deemed MS-13 a terrorist organization. So under that, because he is affiliated with them, and we have court documentation proving that, they're able to get rid of him,
Yep.
right? And so through that, people are saying, well, that's only a wartime. That's a wartime
There's that
act.
top sentence I told you about.
I just like, first of all, it's like, if y'all would take 5 seconds to stop reading the nonsense from just the media itself, you'd be able to actually read the whole thing. And right here, let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Well, I can't. So I'm just reading it off my phone so y'all can go look this up yourself, just so that you're aware. It is through the uscode.house.gov. And as it says here in Chapter 3, Alien Enemies, whenever there is a declared war between the United States or any foreign nation or government, right? That's what you hear in the news media. And that's what you hear all these leftists all over social media going on and on about, oh, it's a wartime act. And like, well, if you actually went and read it, you would see that there's no period after that, right? It's a comma. And it says, or any invasion or predatory incursion is perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by a foreign nation or government, and the president makes public proclamation of the event.
Hey, imagine that January 21st, 2025 invasion at the southern border.
And he declared it a national emergency.
Imagine
So
that.
there we go. Like, there's no question about it, guys.
What was
I
that?
mean,
What was that? 5 seconds of reading?
5 seconds. That's all it was. But this is what kills me the most is like this document right here is directly from the Supreme Court.gov, right? This is the case in which they ruled that supposedly it was against Donald Trump, but actually, in all actuality, it was kind of like a 50-50 ruling, honestly, in all reality.
Oh,
Because
to be fair, it was an addressment of what both parties should do. It
right,
wasn't an order.
right. I mean, the only order that was in the case itself was actually struck down, which was the effectuate, because the Supreme Court, the district court, made a ruling that he needed to facilitate and effectuate the return of Mr. Garcias. Well, they struck that down and said, nah, 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 nah. The U.S. government should facilitate. And people need to understand the difference between facilitate and effectuate. Effectuate means that they have to actually go out, physically try and get him through some kind of deal or whatnot. Like, no, facilitate just means, hey, we've got a plane for you if you want to send him back. That's what he offered the El Salvadorian president. President said the El Salvador is like, nah, I ain't finna send no terrorists back to your country. That's the end of the conversation.
Yep.
But Mike, I don't know if you even know about this, but we've got a lot of the Venezuelan gangs down here in Texas now with the Tres the Agua, whatever, however the hell you say their names. I don't give a damn.
Are you about to bring up the Supreme Court ruling on that one?
Well, it wasn't even a ruling.
I know. It was
a midnight signature of the Supreme Court justices.
It was
that
bullshit
came
is
out.
what it was.
Yeah, Tren de Agua, whatever. Thank you, Lee. Can't say that, but there's some people down here that were going through the court system, and they hadn't even gotten to the Fifth Circuit Court yet, trying to petition to stay here to go through the proper channels. However, Tren de Agua, or whatever, it has been deemed a terrorist organization as well through the same act. Well, at midnight the other night, they came out and was like, yeah, we're gonna stop this and keep them from being deported, even though we're going through the legal channels, completely bypassing the Fifth Circuit of Court. So not only are they going against the constitutional order of the judicial system and the way that everything's supposed to proceed, they literally violated their own rule, which was Rule 23.3, which says that it has to go through the actual channels of lower courts, and there has to be a judgment rendered from the circuit court before they can even look at it.
Yes. So it's a stepping stone, right? You have to complete each step. You can't skip a step. This isn't Mario. You can't just jump to whatever world you want to. Yeah, you have to go in order. That Fifth Circuit Court has to have a judgment.
Right? It's in their own rules, like the Supreme Court rules outside of the Constitution, just their procedural actions and procedural chain of command, I guess you could call it in a sense. And they didn't even follow it. And what was it? Justice Alito and Justice Clarence Thomas wrote a scathing opinion about it, saying this is absolutely unconstitutional. What they're doing violates, our judicial process. And yet they still were able to go forward with it. It's like, that's why I asked the question in my video the other day. It's like, I mean, are they compromised? Because, I mean, we've got questions out here about Amy Coney Barrett, but Kavanaugh was on that list too.
Yeah.
Like, what? It was only Alito and Thomas that were against it.
Yeah. It begs the question that, where are our representatives? Like, we need to hold every aspect of government accountable for the mistakes they make, even the Supreme Court, because that's an ethical violation,
Not
right?
only that, it's a direct contradiction of their 5-4 ruling on the Foreign Alien Enemies Act.
So, so you can have different rulings or conflicting rulings. We saw that with the repealing of Roe v. Wade, right? So you can have conflicting rulings, but the violation comes at the jump from the process or
Right. And I can understand that, but like your comparison, I'm not really seeing it because it was the same case, right? The precedent was already set for Tren del Agua people in regards to the 5-4 ruling. So the precedent from that case should have been used in this one. However, this was like when it comes to your Roe v. Wade, the precedent was brought back to the center stage on the same situation though. Like it wasn't like two different cases essentially. Talking about the same one because that argument that was used, they went back to the original Roe v. Wade and used that and said that this was made on false premise basically, and it doesn't align with what they claimed it was being violated.
well, not even that. Like this particular case in the Fifth Circuit doesn't even pertain to all immigrants. It pertains to five,
Yeah,
five
I think it's
Venezuelan,
5.
five Venezuelan men out of Texas.
But yet Harry Sisson, all them clowns on social media, haha, Donald Trump got a loss. They can't use because this is why I say it's dangerous precedent. Because now what Harry Sisson and all them saying, oh, see, now Trump lost and he can't use the Foreign Alien Enemies Act. Ha 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 ha. Like, no, that's for one case for 5 individuals.
So
Not a blanket one. Like
we're
the
gonna
other one was.
we're gonna have to continue to watch this play out because there has to be a ruling. And what was passed at the midnight hour was not a ruling.
TRO.
So, um,
For those that don't know, it's a temporary restraining order on the deportation. Basically, is what. Yeah.
so it's a halt, right?
Right.
So the Fifth Circuit Court's going to go through their process, and then it may or may not be seen at the Supreme Court level.
It should be, and it should
So,
have the same outcome as the last one.
so at the appeals court, the appeals court, what they should do is refer to that 5-4 decision.
Right. Because I mean that's the same thing. Because this isn't like just some Venezuelans. No, these are known individuals of Tren de Agua, and that has been deemed by the president as a terrorist organization. So there should be nothing. But the problem is the Supreme Court's already went out of their order, violated their own rules, and are acting outside of the constitutional procedural standing of the judicial system.
Yeah. They should be reprimanded for violating their what is it, Rule 23.3.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's wild stuff been going on that aspect. I mean, you have the Garcia thing that's been played out, and now, most recently, what I've been seeing on social media today is this Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf situation, where there's a false narrative going around saying that the primary cause of death of Austin Metcalf was ecstasy overdose.
Just like the whole cleat sharpener BS.
Well, it's like, because like, I'm gonna be blunt, because it involves a black kid stabbing a white kid, y'all y'all believe the overdose thing, but when the actual coroner report of George Floyd, I Can't Breathe Floyd, said he had more than 15 nanograms of fentanyl in his system and actually died from overdose, y'all said, nah, fake news.
It's the point of the coroner's report hasn't even been released because it won't be released to the public until the trial because it's a part of a murder case. Like, you're not going to see it. So whatever you're claiming as this coroner's report of Austin Metcalf, you're full of shit.
Yeah, it's wild. And not to mention the video that I saw, this lady said his primary cause of death was MDNA. Like, if you're gonna push something, at least try to use the proper acronym, because MDMA is ecstasy or Molly. So she said so MDNA, but she meant to say MDMA.
I mean,
I get
even if it was Molly or E, right? Because I know they have two completely different effects on you. There's no way if he was on that amount of E or Molly during a track meet, he wouldn't have been able to stand, let alone do anything in the actual track meet itself, or act like a badass and try and push a kid around.
yeah.
Like, these are the kind of like the deductions that like nobody's brain operates under.
Like, wow. Now you're saying you you are saying that a 17-year-old kid who was brutally murdered was actually died from ecstasy.
But y'all want us to believe that Derek Chauvin having his knee on his back killed him, even though nowhere in that actual coroner's report, which is public, and I have it if you need me to pull it up, I can. It quite literally says overdose, and there's no asphyxiation, which for those that don't know, that means that he didn't suffocate from strangulation or the knee on his neck, like
I'll
they
tell
claim.
I work in healthcare. I deal with patients all day, 4 days a week. If you can talk, you're not choking. So there is actually, in the coroner's report, it's identified that there is no scapula damage, there is no cervical spinal damage, there is no trachea damage. So when you are strangled, you actually see damage to the trachea. Like, you
I don't
guys are you guys are clueless.
I don't get it, man, honestly. And this whole case with the family, like, there's more information coming out. Like, this gentleman that's been out here advocating for not the Metcalfs, the Anthony family. Like, it's come to our attention that this individual himself is somebody that is a repeat felon. And it's like, oh, that is the great representation that y'all want in regards to a case where somebody's committed murder. Like, are you guys on cocaine or something? Like, why in the world would you have a man? This is his list, right? 2009, felony injury to a child. Oh, so he's a child beater. Okay, right off the
Man,
rip, piece of shit, right? Forging checks at the end of 2009, leading police on a high-speed chase, stealing a car, falsely claiming a car was stolen, offensive physical contact.
man. It
That's
seems that
sexual assault, just so
it
y'all
seems that
know.
everyone the Democrats like is either, fraudulent,
Oh, I'm
a
not done.
woman beater, or
I'm not done. I said I'm not halfway done. Probation violation, felony theft of property of over $2,500 to $30,000. Felony assault causing hold up. Felony assault causing serious bodily injury. That's the man, being the family advocate for a murder trial.
A child beater sounds like a great family advocate.
At the end, it says here, making false reports as well. That's an interesting one. So he's good with his words, huh?
Not too good. He got caught.
That is true. That is true. I mean, he's got a list. I didn't even go over all of it yet. But this is the man that I've got all his mugshots and everything from it, from all of it. And it's just it's wild to me to see that so many people are defending this kid. Right? He's 17. He knew damn well what he's doing. And also talking about his size, right? They were saying he was like only 5'9", 130 pounds. Like, y'all do know he's a football prospect, right? We can look up his profile where they literally take a picture of him on his measuring. He's 6 foot tall, 175, 180 pounds. He's a good size receiver for being only a junior. Like, that's good size at his juniors, just so y'all know. Yeah, like, if you don't know anything about football. Austin Metcalf was only 6'1", so he's 1 inch taller, or 6'2", whatever. Like, they're literally looking eye in eye to each other, and he's 120 pounds, or 220 pounds. He's a linebacker. Guess what, guys? I don't know if you've never watched football before, but I played my whole life. Linebackers cover receivers. So if there was this big physical difference between them, then why the hell they got them out on a football field going up against each other? I mean, it's just a BS narrative to try and defend a criminal. Again and again, we continuously see this. Like, this kid is toast. When you look into the actual laws here in Texas, he's toast.
I'm so tired of hearing the self-defense thing. I'm tired of hearing it because if you bring a weapon, you're done. If you bring a weapon onto any type of school property or school event, you're done. You have no argument.
Right. And this claim of bullying, right? He's being bullied. He's smaller.
That's bullshit. That's
bullshit. There's rumor.
It's not going to work in a court of law.
No, there's rumor being said that there's a video of them interacting prior to the physical altercation, right before the event started. And if that's the case, look, you're not going to if you're actually being bullied, you're not going to put yourself in a situation where the bully is. Like, you're just not. So the whole bullying claim is absolute BS.
I don't know any sports function where opposing teams go into an area that are specified for the other team. It doesn't happen. You have your own spot. You stay in your own area. That's it.
And people say all the time, oh, teams interact all the time. Sure, but not when the whole team is telling him to leave. And then Austin says something after he says, touch me. See, that's the whole thing about this, is the team told him, everybody that was in the tent, they made it out to be like Austin Metcalf was the only one trying to, and his brother were the only ones actually talking to him. That's not what the report says. When you actually receive or look at the arrest report, it quite literally says that the team asked him to leave the area. And that's when he put his hand in the bag and said, hey, touch me and see what happens. Verbal assault number 1. Then I guess there was some kind of interaction between him and Metcalf at that point, right? Did he touch him? I don't know at that point. Then he said, punch me and see what happens, with his hand in the bag still, right? So he already has in his head that he's going to use some kind of force. That's why it's first degree.
From a legal perspective, like, in my opinion, reaching your hand into the bag, that's premeditation.
Mm-hmm. That's why
going somewhere where you are not supposed to have weapons on you. Strike 1. Reaching into the bag and making a verbal assault, premeditation. This kid is toast. I'd be like, this is Texas too. So y'all have the death penalty down there.
And numerous kids under the age of 17 have been tried as an adult
Oh yeah, he's
over the
definitely gonna
last
get tried as an adult. 17 years old, even if it is Frisco.
I believe that there's some kind of statute here where it's almost like they have to at 17. I have to look that up. I only heard about it. I haven't actually read into it, but I'm definitely gonna look into that. But yeah, here in the last 10 minutes though, like I want to just do some rapid fire of some information that's out there because obviously we had a main topic tonight, those two things. But yeah, a lot of stuff has been happening on the brink of it basically. So we should be seeing a lot of new deals coming out. Like there's more motion between us and Japan in regards to trade talks there. So keep a lookout for that over the next week or so. Obviously, we've got over
China as
130
well.
countries, right? 130
China as
countries that are
well.
trying to talk to us.
hmm
And from that point, it's gonna everybody's complaining about the stock market right now. Like, stop looking at the stock market. Honestly, stop it.
Y'all
'Cause
didn't
by
look
the
at the
end of this
stock
year, that
market.
stock market is gonna be just fine.
Y'all didn't look at the stock market till the news told you to. China's also, making talks with Trump about a deal. Um, there's. I'm so tired of the stock market talks.
I just want the deal. Like, I can't wait for these deals to drop and watch the market absolutely explode. So that way I can be like, we told y'all for weeks to stop worrying about it. Like these the only reason they're doing this is because of the uncertainty, because they're not in the talks. I can tell you right now, if these stockholders of these major firms that are in the stocks that are making it go up and down like it is, were in the trade talks, you wouldn't see any. You would probably just see them skyrocketing rather than doing any fluctuation whatsoever.
If you're in this live right now, go look for a stock that's pennies on the dollar and buy a little bit and hold on to it for at least a couple months and watch it explode.
Right.
Something in the energy industry or the pharmaceutical industry, because or the yeah. So those two areas, you're gonna see those stocks just explode in the next few months. Um,
Mhm.
Also, there's that whole Pete Hegseth thing too.
Jesus. So NPR put out an information today or last night or something like that, claiming that there's a second signal chat with his wife, his dad, and a lawyer, I guess, and he was giving minute by minute updates on attacks over in the Middle East. No proof, no nothing. Shortly after a bunch of leakers were fired, keep in mind, right? They were fired by him. And now all of a sudden, oh, there's another signal chat. No
Listen,
proof of it yet.
Pete Hegseth is doing amazing things for the military. Um, so I'll just speak on this a little bit. So he's changing the PT standards in the military. He's changed the Ranger School physical fitness standards, which thank goodness I am no longer in the military, and thank goodness I never have to go to Ranger School again because it is significantly harder. Anyone that's ever been to Ranger School, go check out the new physical fitness standards going into that school. Holy bejesus, it is stupid hard, and that's after you get your ass smoked getting there. So. He's doing amazing things. And what Nate told me before we went live is that he's also about to bring up some breaking news, bring up something from a blast from the past, if you will.
Right. So it's being rumored by some pretty large accounts on social media that are connected to other people that are actually a part of the administration. There's a claim out there, a rumor, I should say, that the reason why this is all coming down all of a sudden is not only because those leakers were just recently fired, but supposedly he's supposed to be declassifying Benghazi. The whole 30,000 emails with Hillary Clinton and everything behind that. Uh-oh.
Oh man,
Uh-oh.
sounds
So we'll
like
definitely be watching that.
man. Oof, that's that's tough.
Some other quick hitters too, just before we end here. Obviously everybody's heard about the Pope. I don't care, but I know that's big news. that's going to cause that is going to cause a lot of things to go on in the world, which is the only reason why I mention it. Because it is a long drawn out process. I mean, the grieving process is 9 days alone.
Mhm.
And some of the changes that he made before he died to the whole process is kind of interesting. So if you want to go look at that. But something that's more important to me, Klaus Schwab officially stepped down from the World Economic Forum chair. I'm not sure if you heard that, Mike. Yeah.
I don't
So
even know
that's
who
a
that
big one.
is. I don't even know
Klaus
who that
Schwab,
is. Yeah,
he's
I don't.
basically the counterpart to George Soros, but at a world stage rather than just
Oh,
America.
I was gonna say he sounds like a evil guy from Die
How in the
Hard.
world do you not know who you know who George Soros, but not Klaus Schwab? He's even
No,
bigger than Soros.
that sounds like a villain from Die Hard.
Yeah, well, you definitely look into him because man, is that is huge, honestly, because he has his hands in everything. Like Schwab, there's like a huge investment firm and everything here, Fortune 1000 company, Schwab and Associates or something like that. But that's huge,
Yeah,
man.
Jay
Like
Lee,
I can't wait to hear what the repercussions of that are going to be.
Jay Lee said it best. He said he's the Bond villain in charge of the money in the world.
Pretty much, no, for real though, he really is. I mean,
Listen, I
he's
do.
like I say,
I read court cases and I read legislation. I can't I
George
can't pay
Soros,
attention to everything.
right? George Soros answers to him. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
I don't think it's even George Soros anymore. It's going to be passed on to Alex Soros,
Well, yeah, because I mean, George Soros is what freaking
a,
95 or
a
something like he's
dinosaur.
dinosaur. But yeah, so some other things here. China's trying to boast up their chest to the world and say anybody that works with the United States or sides with the United States, we're gonna come after you. Not realizing you don't have the buying power we do, boy. Sit down. Just saying.
Lord.
Yep. So, I mean, it's been pretty slow over the last day or so. So, I mean, any last hitters that you've seen, Mike?
Um, let's see. I mean, the last thing I read was it's on the Gateway Pundit, which I'm like you. I'm not a frequent flyer of the Gateway Pundit. I do go over there from time to time just to see if there's anything that the mainstream media has missed. And turns out in Tennessee there was an illegal alien who was arrested for impregnating an 11-year-old girl. These are the kind of people that the Democrat Party want in this country. These are the kind of people that Donald Trump just deported to El Salvador.
Mm.
So she just gave birth to a baby boy in February. The illegal alien, his name's 𝗲𝗏𝗧𝗏. He said he admitted to having to raping her, and said he thought she was 14. Like that person, like Mr. Reyes should go through a wood chipper.
Is that like the age of consent in Venezuela or wherever he's from?
I don't know,
Like
but
what? This is like 12 to 14. It's still a child, dude. What?
like a person that does that, you don't even you shouldn't even get prison. You should get a wood chipper.
Right.
But like these are the kind of people that Donald Trump deported out of this country. Murderers, rapists, thieves, just absolute criminals that do nothing but cause death and destruction and mayhem to the American people. And the Democrat Party wants those individuals here. We
Right.
saw it. You
Yeah.
had Mr. One of the Maryland senators go over there and try to rescue the Maryland citizen, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Man.
These are what the Democrats want.
You'll
I
only
don't
see more of it too, man.
I don't see how anybody could support the Democrat Party. And this is not going to be the first person that we pick up that has a rap sheet like this.
No.
And it's so
No.
sad that we have babies out here getting hurt.
It's disgusting. But we've done to thank all of y'all for joining us today, especially our good friend LJ from Timber Talks. So we'll just give him a shout out as well. He's on Thursday, so definitely tune in with him, guys. Timber
Yep.
Talks on YouTube. Love all of you guys. Thank you for joining us. Mike, take us home.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining America's best podcast. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, and Patreon. And follow mine and Nate's TikTok accounts why we'll still have them. You never know.
Go to
And follow us,
Instagram. I'm more on there now.
and follow us on Instagram. So, Natebige, Professor Mike. Find us everywhere. We love you. God bless.